is in very skillful ways being manifested behind the scenes, and the right strings are being pulled at the right time in order to make these things to fall into place. And again, all of this is the basic idea of keeping people in the fear-based mode or fear-based mindset that okay, we cannot manage ourselves without some kind of overarching control system. And I see that this is only increasing all the time, basically, and what we're looking at now also as well on top of this is this kind of I guess we can call it scientific dictatorship or technological dictatorship. The more we're getting more surveillance, more tracking, and all this stuff, and it feels to me that they're also on a rush in a way. Many people have said this before, but they really want to have this in place before I guess the opportunities. Yeah, well, exactly. That could be it, because if we're talking about an external manifestation that takes place, basically that it's something in the external world that in some way enables this to come about more easy or what have you. It could be the energies of where we're at, in the universe or whatever. But it feels to me that they're very much in a rush. What do you think about that? Is that something that the control structure are worried about in that sense?
I think that they definitely are in a rush, and they've been in a rush for quite some time to meet deadlines, for certain things. And I think it probably does have to do with what they perceive as a specific wave of energy, or what frequency that, or bandwidth, however you want to put it, that they need to meet or ride on. So I think that that's definitely something to look at. I remember when that was really big, when they were talking about the photon belt coming in at a certain time, the photon belt.
Sure.
So we have to look at what these people, what they do believe, what they're looking at, scientifically. I mean, it's really, anyway, I could say more about that part of it too, but it really, really is interesting. And it just, even for example, I looked at how 1 minute, oh my gosh, we were talking about the gas prices. It was a common conversation with everybody as to how severe the gas prices were for a long time. I mean, I don't care what level or walk of life you were from. That was a common conversation. You could have that conversation. If you couldn't meet anybody else anywhere in anything else, you could talk about the gas prices. Right. And I looked at that, and then the gas prices were lowered, I mean, drastically. And in that drastic lowering, if you notice, it happened, boom, it was lowered before this whole thing started with how bad the economy was. That chant didn't begin yet, and that's what I call these things, are chants. But that chant had not begun as yet. The gas price was lowered all the way down first, and then what do you hear people talking about now? How bad the economy is.
Sure.
And you have to look at how easily our minds get shifted. We almost forgot about the gas prices now, because now we've been given a whole new chant, a whole new focus. And so while we're focusing on just how bad the economy is, my question is always, what is going on behind the scenes? Because you're so distracted with that, because the media is throwing everything at you in every moment. You can't get on the internet. You can't turn on the television. I don't really watch, but you can't avoid any of it without hearing anything to support the severity of the economy. And so the fear, people are lost in the fear of that right now. I did a little bit of investigating or research on some of these places that, they threw in immediately and saying that, the Chicago Tribune filed bankruptcy. And what I noticed is how they would throw in that the car industry, they throw in like big things at you to make you go, whoa, it's got to be really bad. Things are really going on. Yeah. But how do you know people? My question is, have you researched the backgrounds of these companies and what was really going on, all the things that were going. How do you know that this isn't just another part of, the plan or the process? I mean, I could tell you some things on that, but you people really need to stop and really start researching and not just go, oh yeah, well, what is it again? Chicago Tribune, if they're, going bankrupt, then things are really bad. Stock markets, same thing with the stock market. People don't really research, and so it's very easy to throw things at the public, and we go ahead and we accept that as gospel, and we go on our way. Yes. And that's the hope, is that they'll buy it. Yeah. They'll buy it. Just throw that at them, and then they'll focus on that for a while we're doing, what we're doing over here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not really, of interest, it seems like, to most people. They're already in a position where they want to be told what's going on, and they want to, chew on that around the coffee table at work, or, whatever it is. It's there's so many other factors involved why people are even initially like that, and that's why you realize that at a certain point that it's very easy to control, populations and basically keep them busy with one or the other issue. Same thing again, returning to the whole Palestinian crisis that is going on right now again there. This came, right after I guess right after Christmas, sometime just before New Year's, it bloomed up again, and on we go. And this is the latest problem now that we can focus on, and everyone's going to be absorbed by that. Obviously, there's horrendous stuff going on there, but my point is that this is also something that kind of is being thrown at us, I feel, on certain times. It keeps coming back at a specific cycle. Now it's okay, we're back in the Middle East now again, and the trouble's there, and people are never kind of really given the time, I guess, or they are not themselves. Right. They're not themselves taking the time to step away and say, screw this. I don't care what's going on there. What's happening in my life? Can I change this in some way? Can I change my perception of this? What's going on? Mm-hmm. So it's very, very difficult. But what would you say, I mean, in regards to, I guess I can ask you, what do you know what it was that kind of helped you to get that perspective to begin with, or to get you into a more inquisitive mindset, I guess?
Again, I think that base question for me was, who are we worshiping?
Yeah.
That did it for me. That was, I think, the big question. Just coming into this life, that sort of kicked everything off for me. And I went and searched spiritually. I had no idea I would, get into politics and all of this information, but just a curiosity about my life and wanting to have more control over my life. I think you have to be able to ask those questions.
Yes.
Security, that's another thing. That's another big, what should I say, distraction, because people like to feel secure, which is, what you were just sort of mentioning. They want things handed to them, the information handed to them. And so they get us with security, in the sense of, people and their jobs and, and all of that. You don't work for yourself, so you feel secure because you have a paycheck coming in. But I say to people, there is no such thing as security. You don't know when they're going to close the door, or whatever the case may be. As long as anything is outside of you, you can't look at that as security, because you cannot, unless you are there 24/7 to see what's going on, you can't look at that as security.
Yeah.
So that in itself, to me, should make you as an individual say, let me stop and think about the course of my life right now. Am I happy? And if I'm happy, let me examine everything here. Am I living a package? Am I living what they call, the social package? I'm doing well. I make enough money. I drive a nice car. Are those enough for me? Because in the end, it really is about you. It's about your experiences too, because obviously you are here to have whatever the human experience is, for you as an individual. But is there something more about me, it's something beyond what I see with my eyes, my physical body. Pay attention to the intuitions that you get. Pay attention to that little tugging. That's something that says to me that it's taking a stretch beyond the norm. There's something. There's a part of me that feels like it's outside of what the norm is, and start wanting to maybe tap into that. And I say meditation, but again, meditation has been now also sort of hijacked in a way too, because that's sort of turned into something else. But there's a deep level of connection that you make that takes you outside of your life as a physical human being. That's that point where you come to that deep place that we talked about earlier, that 0 point, the void, the nothingness from which all really does exist. So you want to be able to say to yourself, I really want to tap into whatever that core is. I want to tap into that, and it has nothing to do with your personality or your ego. All of those things are just part of the game of being a human being.
Yes.
And that's what you have to recognize. Your body, your physical body, all of those things. That's how the game has to be played, with those pieces. So you ask questions and research. Start researching for yourself. Look into science. Look into what's going on. Just open your eyes.
And I would like to add to that as well that from what I've been able to see so far also is that a lot of people that are in the alternative circle, so to speak, they also have a similar thought pattern still. That's what I see. I still see that there is a messiah complex within this particular movement, and although and again, just because you've taken yourself out of one box doesn't mean that you've jumped into another one or a larger one or whatever you want to term it. That just because you're into alternative information doesn't necessarily mean that you actually are, that your opinions are really your own, or even that your thoughts are really your own. So there's multiple levels of kind of, I guess, liberation here, and to really break free of that idea that someone else is going to, save me or save us or get us out of the troubled situation we're in. So there's multiple levels to all of this. That's what I would like to say.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because absolutely that's basically it. The people jump from one box, to the next box, and it is, we have the savior complex.
Yes.
The savior complex, definitely, the savior complex is essential to the manner in which the game operates, because of the fact that you have to be dependent on an external source. This is what the game, as we've been living it, that's how it works. You must be dependent on something else. And that's why we become dependent on government and insurance and this and that and all of those things. It's because of that. And that's where the security lies, because you basically are programmed to believe that you are not worthy or capable. And if somebody else suggests some of these things to you, you go, oh, come on, you must be kidding. You must be crazy. Because we're not taught, from childhood to be able to explore more of who we are. Instead, you're programmed as soon as you start school. Your parents start the programming first based on what they've got, and then you go to school, and then you get the programming, and so on and so forth, and then you go to the corporate world, and that's another set of programming.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree, and so I mean, it's all about getting back to the source of what you are yourself in that sense, and getting back to really, I guess, also rediscovering of who you are. Do you think that that's a part of also, I guess, a property of the time that we're in right now, that these questions also come to the surface at this particular time? Yeah, I mean, it's because it seems to be a massive information out there. We have the web. It's incredible, a lot of new research that is coming towards to light, and it feels to me that all this is also actually helping along in this process, meaning that the more actually we're being kind of flooded by it. Well, on one level, we're also kind of being tired by it, which means that we step back even more from it. What does